You ever feel like dating these days feels more like surviving a battlefield than finding love? Honestly, I've lost count of how many women I've spoken to who tell me the same story. I opened my heart, I trusted him, I gave everything. And in the end, I was left feeling like I was the fool. You know what I mean, right? And here's the thing. When women get hurt enough times, something inside them changes. It's almost like a switch flips. They go from being hopeful, soft, open-hearted, to guarded, strategic, and, dare I say, killers in the dating game. Not killers with knives, but killers of illusions, of hope, of second chances, of patience. So in this video, we re-diving deep into why being hurt by men often transforms women into the killers of modern dating. And I promise by the end of this, you'll not only understand the psychology behind it, but also walk away with some relationship advice, some dating tips, and honestly, maybe even a little healing. Let me paint a picture. Imagine Sarah. She's 29 and she's tired. Tired of ghosting, tired of breadcrumbing, tired of situationships that go nowhere. She used to be the girl who believed in love languages, who read relationship advice blogs, who tried to work on communication in relationships, even considered marriage counseling with her last boyfriend when things got shaky. But after being love-bombed, gaslighted, and left wondering what to do when he pulls away, she snapped. Sarah didn't cry anymore. She didn't chase anymore. She became colder, sharper. Her friends joked that she was savage now. But deep down, Sarah wasn't savage. Sarah was wounded. And that's where many women are today. When you get hurt enough times, the heart starts building armor. But let's break this down with some research-backed truths. Here's the way I see it. When you keep experiencing betrayal, it rewires your brain. Love psychology tells us that the more often we're let down in relationships, the more our brains start predicting pain instead of love. Think about it like this. If every time you touched a hot stove you got burned, wouldn't you eventually stop touching stoves altogether? That's what happens in modern dating. When men ghost, love bomb, breadcrumb, or show emotional unavailability, women learn the pattern. And once you learn the pattern, you stop playing the same game. For example, let's talk about attachment styles. If you start with a secure style but date enough emotionally unavailable men, you can easily shift into anxious or avoidant. That's when trust issues kick in, and rebuilding trust becomes a mountain instead of a molehill. Point 2. Women learn to play defense, not offense. Here's something I've noticed, and maybe you've felt this too. Women who've been hurt don't stop dating. No, they just date differently. They become detectives. They Google him. They analyze every text. They pay attention to signs of a toxic relationship from the first date. And it's not paranoia. It's survival. Women know how easy it is to get trapped in situationships, to waste months with a man who never defines the relationship, or to get strung along by someone breadcrumbing. So when women start playing defense, it looks like coldness to men. But really, it's just setting boundaries. And boundaries are one of the healthiest relationship tips out there. It's how you protect yourself, how you stop falling into the same traps. Point 3. Emotional intelligence becomes a weapon. Now let's talk about emotional intelligence in relationships. Women, by nature and social conditioning, are often more emotionally intelligent than men. They pick up on subtle shifts in tone, body language, even silence. But when a woman's been hurt, that emotional intelligence turns into a weapon. She can spot gaslighting quicker. She knows when love bombing feels too intense. She recognizes when a man is emotionally unavailable. It's kind of like, once you've been scammed before, you can spot the scammer a mile away. And believe it or not, that's not cynicism. That's wisdom. Point 4. Hurt creates hyper-independence. Now, this one gets complicated. Many women, after heartbreak, dive deep into self-sufficiency. They start saying things like, I don't need a man, I'm fine on my own. And to be fair, there's power in that. But here's the downside. Hyper-independence often comes from pain, not choice. It's a shield to avoid being vulnerable again. Women start rejecting even the possibility of healthy relationships because vulnerability feels like weakness. Take Maria, a fictional but very real type of woman I know. She was married for 5 years, went through marriage counseling when her husband started pulling away, tried everything to fix the relationship, but after the divorce, she swore off love entirely. Never again, she told me, and she meant it. But deep down, Maria still craves connection, because humans are wired for connection. Love psychology proves it. Our brains are literally designed for bonding. But when you've been burned, it feels safer to say no than to risk being burned again. Point 5. Modern dating feels like a war zone. Let's be real here. Modern dating is brutal. Between ghosting, situationships, gaslighting, breadcrumbing, and men who pull away the second things get serious, it's exhausting. Women end up feeling like they're in a game where the rules keep changing, and after a while, they adapt. They stop playing to win love. Instead, they play to not lose themselves. That's the real killer instinct. But here's where I want to shift gears. Because yes, hurt turns women into killers in the dating game. But killers don't always have to stay killers. Healing is possible. So if you're listening to this and nodding along, let me share some relationship advice that actually works. Set clear boundaries. Knowing how to set boundaries in relationships is the #1 way to avoid repeating the same mistakes. If he ghosts once, believe him. If he breadcrumbs, call it out. Know your attachment style. Are you anxious, avoidant, or secure? Understanding your love psychology is the foundation of healthy relationships. Improve communication. Instead of bottling things up, practice how to communicate with your partner openly. Say what you need. Say when something feels off. Focus on love languages, not just for him, for yourself. Do you need words of affirmation? Acts of service? Fill your own cup first. Rebuild trust slowly. Rebuilding trust is like rehab. You don't run a marathon right after breaking a leg. Take small steps and don't rush. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to become a killer forever. The goal is to protect your heart without hardening it, to be wise without being bitter, to build a healthy relationship without repeating relationship problems from the past. I'll leave you with this thought. Remember Sarah from the beginning? The one who turned savage after too many heartbreaks? Well, here's the part you didn't know. She eventually met someone different. Not perfect, but different. And because she had learned to set boundaries, because she understood communication in relationships, because she knew her love languages, this time, things felt safe. And Sarah realized something. She wasn't a killer anymore. You're not broken. You're just healing. And healing takes time. If I'm being honest, I could be wrong, but I think women today are some of the strongest I've ever seen. Strong because of pain, not in spite of it. And maybe, just maybe, the men who are worth it will recognize that strength, not fear it. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt yourself turning into a killer after being hurt in love? What was your breaking point? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I promise you're not the only one going through it. And hey, if this video gave you something to think about, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. Because the more we talk about these relationship problems openly, the closer we get to actually building healthy relationships.